Yes.
Oh, he loves it.
Okay.
He loves pronouncing.
Will be I'm live in 1, 2. We're live from Moncton at the Canadian Stick Curling Championship. We're in the final game between the women's division here in Moncton, and I'll turn it over to our announcers.
Good afternoon. Arnold Mallet here from the host club, Curl Moncton.
I'm Lawrence Forbes, also from the host committee, and actually played in it 6 games.
Lawrence, you played in it. You helped do some of the ice, and now you're up here broadcasting. I think we've got full use of you for this tournament.
Well, let's hope that we can be helpful. So we just saw the first stone not quite make it to the hog line.
Now the curlers did have a practice, four rocks each team up and down, so it's not as if they don't know what the ice is doing, but it is a fresh sheet of ice, however.
It might have picked us. You just saw them lift the yellow rock and do a clean on it. So,
Lawrence, I don't know in stick curling, do they time? Does anyone try to do a time from hog to hog? Do they?
yeah, we do.
Okay.
A lot of people do. Some don't, but
like
to get a feeling to what just during the
curling,
game,
yeah.
Beginning of the game, middle of the game, to see how fast the rocks are moving.
Okay.
And this was freshly shaved and pebbled and nipped before the game.
So the yellow stones are being thrown by team Dunsforth and Hughes and Reid?
No.
No?
Um,
Okay, so it's Mattson and Dorey then.
Betty Mattson, Audrey, Dorey from Nova Scotia throwing yellow rocks
Okay.
today, and we have Elaine, Hughes, and Etta Reid from PEI throwing the blue rocks, and the blue rocks have last rock here in the first end.
Great. Wolfville, of course, is just outside Halifax, down in the valley, university town, and Cornwall is just this side of Charlottetown, PEI, so probably about an hour and a half jaunt to here to Moncton.
it's an all-maritime final.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's been a great weekend that we've had teams from right across the country. Great for stick curling, a relatively new part of curling, 2005, I think you
Yep.
said, that it started. So relatively new.
Yes, and a number of provinces have 5. Well, even BC has 6 teams competing, and they're probably the furthest away. The host province here, New Brunswick, had 5 teams, and that's great.
It's a little bit like mixed doubles.
Yeah, I took in Canada's loss to Scotland here earlier today. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah. They are both 4-0, and now Canada's 4-1, and Scotland's 5-0. So, and the Americans are undefeated as well.
Well, the strategy in this is quite a bit different from 4-person curling. You've only got 6 rocks, so you have to make your move kind of fast into the house.
And Lawrence, the rock removal is we have to wait for.
Fourth rock.
So I'm just going to go through some of the rules here. Each team has 2 players, 6 rocks per end, 6 ends, so you get the game done in less than an hour. Each player stays at their own end, no takeouts until the 4th rock, and no sweeping between the hog lines.
You can sweep the opponent's rock behind the tee line. However.
Correct.
We went through so many COVID regulations here that you never knew. I'm
Never
sure
knew when we could sweep and
most
when we
provinces
couldn't.
probably did the same. You know, one sweeper, the mask on, mask off. It was interesting times. So I think she was attempting to come around and ended up bumping, and I don't think that's quite out.
Looks like yellow is counting.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like yellow is shot rock.
She's putting a little bit of weight on this one. And as you can see, it's starting to curl, and even with that weight, she'll get it, but there she goes. Yep.
It is weight sensitive. It can be a little straight with the heavy weight. I saw one earlier where they put, he really wanted straight, so he put a lot of weight, put a lot of spin. And it did go straight, but there's lots of curl on the ice.
Well, and as we were talking before the broadcast started, the rocks were textured, so although this is kind of the end of the tournament, there were what? There had to be, how many draws per day? There were quite a few, weren't there?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
But with not a lot of sweeping.
Right, that's
So
true.
there's no
Yeah.
sweeping between the hog lines, and even after the hog line, there's sweeping, but it's not terribly aggressive.
Right.
So there's not a lot of wear on the pebble.
Nice draw there.
So I think during the round robin, we were going 2 games before a shaven pebble.
That's coming in nicely. And as it crosses the hog line, that'll start to move. Should get a nice hit and roll. No? Okay.
That didn't curl much.
No. So Hughes and Reid are lying 2 at this point. We're down to getting close to last rock. Were they allowed to choose rocks from a certain sheet? Is that, did we get into that here?
No.
No, okay.
And the last stone was determined by round robin.
Okay. Which in the round robin, what did we say? Cornwall beat Wolfville in the round robin?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Dunsford and Sanderson's record for the round robin was 6 wins, 1 loss versus Mattson and Dorey, who were 4-3. Pretty respectable. Be interesting to see. That's on the 4-foot line as it goes down.
Oh, it's gonna raise her
Just
in.
overthrew it a little bit.
Yeah, too much weight.
Wow.
So that scores 1 yellow.
For Mattson Dorey here at the end of the first end.
And Arnold, during the round robin, during the practice, they do 4 up and 4 down. The last rock that they throw is for last shot. So closest to the pin, the measurement.
Oh, they did that all week.
Did that all week. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, because
So-
you're constrained with time, right? You can't run into Tuesday, so.
So while we're getting ready for the next end, we just want to thank our national sponsor, CIBC Wood Gundy, for sponsoring this National Stick Curling Championship here in Moncton, New Brunswick.
And then some of our local sponsors as well, Nana's Bakery, which is right around the corner from the curling club, KKP for all your printing needs, which are just down the street, and Old Dutch, which is a chip supplier here for the club and have been supporters of a lot of events over the years.
None of this happens without sponsors. We're really grateful to CIBC Wood Gundy and all the local sponsors to help us put an event like this on. When you consider the amount of curlers that are here and the quality of the curling, and it makes it a big event for Moncton.
And it looks like we ran into some technical difficulties with one of our cameras, and hopefully it'll recover itself here shortly.
I noticed there was, I was in earlier in the week and noticed quite a variety of different types of sticks. I think that they call it sticks.
They call it sticks, and
so,
I
yeah.
was a little surprised by the variety that there were. I didn't realize. I mean, I've only seen around here. We've got 2 suppliers, but there were all shapes and sizes and lengths. And also included with this is worth mentioning is that we had wheelchair curlers in this event, not as a wheelchair curling competition, but as stick curling competitors.
So they played in the round robin as well. There
Yes,
was
they did.
Yes,
Yep.
it wasn't a division or anything. No.
Yeah.
So I think she was attempting to come into the house with that rock. She was a little light.
And there we go. We got our camera back again. So technology glitches everywhere.
So the request here, Lawrence, was to hit and try to roll behind the 2 guards. However, with that weight, she's kind of taking the curl right out of the stone, and she'll
It was a throw through.
roll out or go through. Yes. So same rule, blank end. You retain hammer.
Yes.
Okay. What did you think of the centerline rule this year at the Worlds? Did you like it?
I don't like it.
No, I'm not sure where I am with it.
No, I know I don't like it. To me, a tick is part of the strategy. It's just skill to do a tick shot.
Yeah.
So to take that away, I was going to attempt to take out and to roll in behind those yellows.
So the CIBC Canadian Stick Curling Association Championship 2022 is taking place here at Curl Moncton in Moncton, New Brunswick.
So that didn't curl as much as she anticipated.
Again, I think her weight was up, yeah. Lawrence, you were mentioning earlier, and I think the viewing public can see all the Scotty logos on the ice. Curl Moncton was to host the Scotties, Provincial Scotties tournament, but it was right in the middle of the pandemic. So last year's winner were returned to this year's
Oh,
championship.
what a nice shot.
That was a nice shot. In a good roll in behind, but I don't think there's anything sticking out. If there is, it's very slight.
Well,
But this
depending-
curls enough that they can bump it back.
We'll see. That's the attempt anyway, yeah. Now, she may have pushed that out a little
She
bit.
did, yeah.
And she indicated this. Yeah. Yeah.
It's worth mentioning, Arnold, that at this level, when you're curling into a final, you're the only team on the ice. There are no other distractions. You know that all eyes are on you. And it's a little more of a stressor than just playing an ordinary game when there's all kinds of action and things going on.
Well, and I noticed there was quite a few of the curlers watching the
Oh, yeah.
finals downstairs. So. We should also mention that the three levels of government, the City of Moncton, the provincial government, are also in on helping to sponsor this event.
I think she'd want a little more curl on this.
She actually tapped it a little bit, Lawrence, so...
Yeah, that might not be too bad, but I think it's still open for a double. If she'd have swept it a little further back.
Now the attempt will be, she'll
think-
have to throw some weight on this to get
Not
that
taking much
going
ice.
all across the sheet of the ice. Ooh, yep.
She's
That speed, I don't think sweeping's going to
Nope.
do it much good.
It's going to go by, I believe.
Yep. Actually fell back a little bit with that weight.
So she's sitting 2 now, and now wants to protect that.
And I guess she's asking for a guard, so that can be anywhere over the hog line, correct?
Yep.
Coming in nicely down.
That's probably going top 12, maybe. She's talking to the rock.
Well, that's not a bad place to be. It does, however, allow for a double to be made.
And maybe if she was Kevin Cooey, we might get a triple.
Yes. And this is the last rock of the second end.
With yellow sitting 3, she's going to move some granite.
Team Mattson and Dorey lying 3. I'm afraid that with that extra weight, she's going to touch it, but yeah, it moves
Yeah.
1.
So did remove 1 and lion 2. So 2 more yellow, and score goes up 3-0 for
Nova Scotia team.
Team Nova Scotia. Betty Mattson and Audrey Dorey. It's an interesting game, Arnold. I think that more people should take up stick curling. I really do. I've been trying to encourage people that have stopped curling because of knees or hip injuries to get back involved. It's a great way to get back involved. It's still curling, although they'll say that it's not curling anymore, but it is just as exciting.
Yep. Well, prior to the pandemic, my wife, she could get down on the hack, she could slide out, but she had the hardest time getting up. And that was the issue. Her legs didn't have the strength to. So she stick curled right up until the pandemic. And hopefully maybe next year we'll get her back out there. And she enjoys it. She's actually not bad at it.
That's a lot of fun. We have our stick curling day here at Moncton is on Wednesday afternoons.
Now there's no problem putting that in the house because that can't be taken out right now.
Still can't be taken out, doesn't? Yeah.
Till the fourth
First 3
rock
rocks
is thrown.
cannot be taken out until the 4th rock is thrown, and it can be anywheres after the hog line. They finish really hard.
Decent weight on that.
Yep.
And I think blue is shot rock, as we see. Well, they've enjoyed quite an event here. There were, I think, 35 teams, Lawrence, and they started curling Friday morning, correct?
That is correct.
And I know on Curl Moncton's Facebook page, there were a number of photos of teams or events taking place through the week. And if our viewers care to see those photos, they can go to the Canadian National Stick Curling Championship.ca website, and there's quite an array of photos to be had there. So the event, the National Stick Curling Association Championship started in 2005 and has been happening every year except for the 2 years of the pandemic. Okay.
And next year it's in Nanaimo, BC.
Is it typically around this time of the year, towards the end of the season? Yes, okay. But as you say, Lawrence, I've curled anytime Mike has needed a spare on Wednesdays, and if I'm roaming around the club and they say, "Can you go out for?" and where it's only 45 minutes or so, it's easy to get involved.
So they've thrown, 2 stones have gone through, having a little challenge with their weight right now.
I think she was attempting a takeout, but I think that'll curl enough to probably hit her own. Oh, well, she had enough weight that actually turned out an excellent shot.
She had a little slip as she was coming out to deliver, kind of threw her off balance a little bit and probably turned it in a little.
Hers stayed around and she's got it guarded, so. The attempt here, Lawrence, I suspect they want to get it in the rings. And that looks like that's been a little underthrown. Or let's see how it ends up.
You don't normally see a lot of guards at the beginning, like not like regular curling where you try to get guards up. It's into the house and then you start guarding after that.
Right. Yes, because they can't take you out. Right.
Yeah.
So PI struggling a little bit with her weight at this point.
If we have some viewers that are watching for the first time that are seeing stick curling, you'll see a multitude of techniques of some people that hold the stick with both hands as they come out and deliver. Others, both hands when they come out and then release their non-throwing hand. And then others with just a direct throw. So there's no right or wrong way. It's what people get to feel comfortable with.
And I've noticed some people in the club here actually have one hand up in the air like you almost think they were in a sword match, you know.
That's me.
The other thing, of course, the rock does have to be released before the hog line, just like regular curling, so.
Yes, it does. Yeah. And it's not like sliding because it's a little trickier because you can walk out to the hog line. But you can't walk out of the path of the center. You can't walk to the sideline and then shoot in. That can't be done.
Elaine put a nice one just behind that guard on the 8-foot.
And it's shot.
I think the call is to, I think she can see enough of it to remove it. Feeling that if it curls, it could be, they could run it back. Get a piece of hers. Just nicked it. Yeah. Just nicked it. So here's where you're calling about guards, Lawrence. They got shot rock in there and put a little bit of pressure on.
And you do have to, when you're delivering, you have to understand that there's not very much sweeping going to be involved. Even if somebody does sweep, you're not going to see the kind of effort that you would see out of the men or the women curling at a national level in regular curling.
That's what I noticed, that the odd times that I've spared and played is that it really, I think all curlers should at least attempt to stick curl because it really shows you the trajectory of the rock on its own.
Yes.
It's pretty interesting what it can do.
Well, we discovered that this year. I do the Learn to Curl program. And this year we took the curlers to the other end to watch a rock coming towards them with no sweeping, just to see how much a rock really curls. And in stick curling, you do see it because there's no interference with sweeping. There's nobody. It's going to be a nice shot.
She made no mistake with with that one.
So the first one that she got that little tick and moved over the guard a little bit, just opened it up enough for her.
So Elaine Hughes is being asked to replace that, to be shot rock on the 8-foot, behind the yellow rock sitting on the 4-foot line. Then Etta's coming out to, she hasn't laid a brush to it as yet. It's entering the house and just a tad heavy.
Well, and that's in the show that didn't curl.
Right, and it is shot rock, I believe.
Had she,
Oh, for one. Okay.
it was for one.
There we go.
Yeah, had she had the weight for the 4-foot or the 8-foot, you'd have seen a lot more curl on that.
So after 3 ends complete, we have Mattson and Dorey from Wolfville Curling Club leading Hughes and Reid, from Cornwall Curling Club with a score of 3-1. So Nova Scotia will have first rock.
So in the round robin, Hughes and Reid had a 6-1 record. So they went through that very well. And Betty Mattson and Audrey Dorey, they were at a 4-3 record.
And maybe just to mention that Alberta, actually 2 Alberta teams were in the semifinals and lost to Nova Scotia and PEI to make it to the finals.
And this is the women's division that we're watching here now. And following this is going to be the open division. And open divisions is just as it says. The teams can be made up, male, female, whichever way. So.
In our particular case, are they, I guess they're all male.
Yes, they are. Yep.
I'm not sure what AJ Scott, Darren Beach and Daryl Beach.
Yep.
The Beach Boys, let's say. So that game will be coming up at shortly after 3. It'll be Team Beach from the Highland Curling Club against Team Magnuson and Coots from Fort Bruges, Manitoba.
So that rock didn't go quite far enough over, so it leaves it open. There is a port there.
Yeah, I think she was hoping to get it to the center line to hopefully guard, but now this rock can't be taking out just yet.
Yes, it can. This rock can be.
Oh, this is the fourth rock.
This is the fourth.
Very good. And that explains the weight.
But it's going to curl.
Actually,
there it goes now. Yep. Good rock. Little roll. Oh.
Yep. And removal.
I guess a little too much roll.
Once again, we're broadcasting live at Curl Moncton in Moncton, New Brunswick, the CIBC Wood Gundy Canadian Stick Curling Association Championship 2022. And Lawrence, you mentioned that next year's tournament will be held
at the other end of the country.
Nanaimo, BC.
Yeah.
Local sponsors for this event, Nana's Bakery, which is just around the corner from where we are, KKP, which is the local printing firm here, and Old Dutch for all your snack needs. Shout out to our host committee. Cheryl Mins was the chair, Catherine McLean the treasurer, Andre Lamontagne ice maintenance with a number of volunteers such as yourself, Lawrence, Mike Mins with live score and the commentators. Dan Thibault and Deb Watling for volunteers. Ray Doothright for food service. Gary Walsh, special events director, and Joan Reid on the program.
So she was attempting a takeout, but oh, if she had line or if she threw it out a little bit, it just stayed straight, hit the guard. So Reid is attempting to put up a guard, but
It's
12 foot would be good.
it's on the way now. A little bit of brushing, and she may not have gotten her guard, but she got behind the long distance guard. So mission accomplished, I would say.
She's going to look at the long raise. I don't know.
Well, or I'm wondering, Lawrence, if maybe she's not seeing how much it's exposed. Because if she comes to the back one at the back of the 4 foot, I don't think that'll give her. Well, that's what she's asking for.
Well, yeah, but in the 4 foot.
Yes,
Because I think you're right. If she comes to rest on that back stone,
it'd be close. But actually, a shot even right in front of it would not be a terrible shot either.
but it will come around.
Well, there you go. There's the 8 foot for ice. So, and you were mentioning styles. There's she has Audrey has a bit of a hop and a skip.
Yeah, there's a running style. There's a slide style. There's oh,
Just overpowering it a bit
too much weight.
as it rolls out. So now Elaine is asking Etta, just wants a draw. And they're discussing the ice, which is, you can certainly be talking,
Yep, they're allowed 2 timeouts.
right? And do they meet halfway? Is that?
No, they can meet anywhere. It's a new rule that now you can meet anywhere
Okay.
Yeah.
Because there was a time where you'd have to go.
halfway.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
I think that rule changed. That was this
Last
year.
year,
wasn't
yep,
it?
yep.
When I mentioned it here, they didn't believe me, so I had to go print off the new rule. I got called out for coming into the house to do a timeout.
All right. You're
12
right.
foot.
Yeah, it would have been. It would have. However, it's there and it's blocking the shot rock.
But can still get to the 4 foot.
Exactly. And this is the.
Just adjust her weight from the first one.
Yeah.
But she's coming pretty heavy.
Audrey has 2 rocks remaining. This is the first of her 2. Weight's not too bad. It's
Pretty well the same one as the last one.
Yeah. Just that little extra weight.
Yeah.
And it takes the curl out of it. So Elaine's going to be asking Etta anywhere in the front. Now, I suppose she could put pressure on and bring that into the house.
Well, 12 foot would be great.
Sure. You accomplish both.
Yeah.
You possibly score. And
12 foot on the 4 foot line.
Lawrence, do you think there's any attempt to come the other way for the Wolffield squad? I don't think they can get to the shot.
I don't think so. Depending what happens here,
Yeah.
I think that same shot that they've attempted twice is still there.
Now she was a little bit further there this time. It's taking the curl now.
Yeah, even if she's
And
not
that'll
in the-
finish nicely as Elaine is sweeping that, and they close to getting a biter, but that's mission accomplished.
I still think with the right weight.
Well, Lawrence, I guess I was confused with there not being any names on the Nova Scotia team. I think I inadvertently was calling Betty Audrey and Audrey Betty, so we've just had that corrected.
So they called a timeout.
So Betty will be throwing the last rock of the third end, and she's looking at 2 right now. So they are looking at that, trying to come in the other side. I would think, Lawrence, at this point, I don't know, they certainly haven't got a chance for a double, so maybe try to get them down to 1 at the least. Attempt the shot.
Yeah,
But
I think it's still there. It curls nicely. You know, when those last 2 stones that she threw down were almost hack weight. It was way past back line, but if it throws 4 foot weight, it'll curl. Because when they slow down, they really take a curl.
And the timeout, I suggest, is 30 seconds or
90-second timeout.
90 seconds. Okay. So here we go with the final rock of the fourth end.
It's light.
And she's handy the
Yeah.
4-foot line. I think she
That'll
underthrew
overcurl.
that.
Yeah.
What she wants to watch out for, no, she's fine. Okay, just,
Yeah.
yep. So 2 blue, and that ties the game up. After 4 ends, we're all tied up at 3-3 for the final of the Canadian National Stick Curling Championship 2022, sponsored by CIBC Wood Gundy here at Curl Moncton in Moncton, New Brunswick.
So not much different happened there than all of us. She threw 2 stones that went through as being too heavy and pulled back on her last stone that needed to be 4 foot and just
Yeah.
pulled back too much.
Well, so far we've had 2 steals, each of 2 points for both teams. Elaine throwing the first stone of the 5th end. Excuse me.
And one of the things I discovered about this game is that you have to score fast. It's only 6 ends. You've only got 6 stones. You can't strategize for your 7th and 8th stone. You've got to use your scoreboard well because you don't have those 2 extra ends to play in. It creeps up on you real fast.
So Audrey was being asked to, I think Betty wanted that in, but it's curling. As we were saying, the rocks in the house or in front cannot be removed until the 4th rock is being thrown. So this is still only the 3rd rock of this end.
She's going to attempt to come around, start building up that side of the house.
Well, and they just played it, so they should certainly know how it's performing here. It's starting to take the curl. Once it crosses that 4-foot line, she's got a great shot here as it's coming in. And
Just
she
put
makes
that under
contact.
better cover.
Yep. It is how open, however, and this can be removed.
Yes. Probably hoping for a little roll on this also. That's beginning to curl now. It's going to curl hard.
Yeah, she may have turned that in just a bit.
Is there a hole there, Arnold? Wow. Wasn't a big hole, but
That did curl though, Lawrence,
It
even
did,
with that
yeah.
weight, and
yeah.
advantage PEI now with 2 rocks accounting and the possibility to guard. I think she was asking for T-line.
Yeah. And maybe she wants a little tap back on that, or to split it off.
Elaine, once that crosses that 4-foot line, it's starting to come now. Beautiful weight, and she had asked for T-line, and that's pretty well what she got, or 4 foot for sure.
Somebody asked this week how come they weren't doing stats for something like this. I'm not quite sure, but there's not a lot of conversation goes on, so you don't always know what the shot that's being called. I know John and I, we've been playing together now for a year. We don't talk a whole lot. We just kind of know what the next shot, by the kind of ice that you're asking for.
Nice shot.
Nice shot. Nice shot.
Just enough to get the 2 of them out.
Just the right weight to it.
Yep, yep. It kept the curl in play, so. So Elaine's being asked to remove the shot. I don't know that that is shot rock. I think the blue over to the handy of the
Yeah, it's a little hard to
T-line.
tell from
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
But she probably wants it out of there.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah. As it can still be raised.
This is where, as it approaches that center line,
Yeah. You're going to get a roll, but I don't think it's going to be a good roll. Oh,
it
so it did
remains in
roll and
play.
stayed in.
Remains in play.
I think she's hoping to get a double here. I don't know how they're lined up.
Well, she was pretty well on the stick.
I don't know how much space there is there, but
Oh my goodness. They either needed it to curl a little more or a little less.
yeah.
She's going to have an open draw for 3. However, they do not have last rock, so pressure's on. Elaine will, I guess, anywhere 4 foot. Her top 8 would probably be a nice shot too, around the center line.
Yeah, certainly not deep.
No. She's kind of motioning it for her to slow down.
She's talking to it to slow down. Yeah.
Wow. Just out. That really didn't look that heavy, but obviously it was.
It looks like she's taking about the same ice as she did on the last one.
Yeah. The last rock of the 5th end here.
That's going to over curl, I believe. Get a piece of it.
Yep. And the weight.
So that leaves the blue still counted.
Just out. It looks like blue scored 1. Another steal. Although perhaps it's not as obvious. we're quite a ways from the.
There's still another shot.
Oh, there is.
Yeah.
There must be 2. Yeah, there's 2 shots left. Yeah.
Looks perfectly clear from here, but I guess not so much from there. It's amazing looking at the angle of a rock.
Well, they're both looking at it, so it must be closer than it appears. So again, a request for Elaine to get it to the 8 foot. Sorry, not Elaine, but
Yeah, that's
yes,
fine.
That's Elaine, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
But she looks like she's heavy.
About the same weight as last time, or maybe even a little more.
It's any requirement to sweep that one.
Wow. Well, the ice is fooling them a little bit.
So we're looking at it carefully.
Yep. Yep. I think she's indicating that they're shot rock. So an open draw for 2. Or sorry, what am I saying?
Yeah,
Take out.
I
Take
think
out
she's
for,
going to take out. Yeah.
yes, because that is shot rock. Well, that is
She
starting
needs
to
to-
move on her.
Nice to stick.
If she has the weight,
Yeah, that's good.
which she does, and there you go.
Oh, don't know what happened to that. Blue rock bounced in.
Jammed it on the
It
back.
jammed.
Yeah, they definitely have shot rock. Whether they score their 2 or not, we'll have to wait for an indication. I think it jammed and may have rolled back in.
I think it did. It looked like it.
So after 5 ends of play, yeah, it was. No, there
No,
you go.
yeah, I was going to say. So after 5 ends, it's
Mattson,
4-3.
Yep. Nova Scotia over PEI. Once again, this is the ladies' final of the 2022 Canadian National Stick Curling Championship, sponsored by CIBC Wood Gunday, being held here, Moncton, in Moncton, New Brunswick. It's been a great week of tournament play here. Started on Friday, and it terminates with the men's draw after this game for their finals.
So as a sweeper, again, a little different than what we're used to in normal curling because you're seeing the rock coming towards you. To determine weight is a little harder than when you're following a rock down.
Etta Reid is being asked to bring that into the house. It would appear it's a bit light. We'll see here as it crosses the hog line. That's in play and it's counting, so, and cannot be removed, so not a bad shot. Audrey's asking for a guard. However, if this comes in, Lawrence, I don't think it'd be.
Even a little split on here, but it looks like a nice curl
Or
to it. A freeze.
even a tap freeze or a tap back would. There we go. So there we go.
Hope to get a double out of it. I'm going to have to hit pretty well on nose.
We haven't seen too many takeouts coming this way.
Lots of weight,
Yep. And she
and it's curling.
she may have turned that into a little
Might
bit. She's got one for sure. There you go. Yeah, may have just turned it in. The
Might
weight
have,
was
yeah.
fine. Yeah.
That was a lot of weight.
Mm-hmm. So once again,
Ask for another guard, maybe a little higher up.
yeah, at this point it's really about stealing. It's not about scoring too much. Preventing the other team, I guess, at this point.
That's That's all you want to do now.
She seems to have pretty similar weight. It gets off that 4-foot line, and she will end up with a pretty good guard. However, the double is there. Etta was asking for a little more ice.
Lots of weight.
It's all about where she makes contact, and 1
Oh.
and 2.
It's a biter. Rolled
It's a-
back in.
PI lying 2. At the moment. Now that's moving to the center line. Chance for a double here as well.
Yeah.
And she
Excellent
rolled.
shot.
Yes, actually, with that weight and to keep the shooter, that
Yeah.
that was an excellent shot. Yeah. At this point, with
She's going for a freeze.
she's got 3 rocks remaining. They're lying 2. She's down 1, so you certainly want a rock in play. This the final end of a 6-end game, so. And it's 1 timeout per match.
2 timeouts.
2 timeouts.
Yep.
You'd almost think that with the discussion going on here, there might be an opportunity for another one.
Yeah, the discussion was either to come for a freeze or to go for a takeout and get a double.
I think they've decided, Lawrence, on the takeout. I think there was a little bit of confusion about how many rocks were left, because one of the blue rocks in the attempts to the takeout of the other end rolled over onto ice 2, so I think she thought she only had the 2. Here we go. And again, with that weight, it certainly takes the curl out of it. She does make contact with the back yellow, so Nova Scotia is lying 1.
It's just
Without
trying
handle.
to eliminate
Yeah.
the yellow rocks so that they can't score.
So, should there be an extra end, how many rocks do we throw? Do we throw a complete end?
You just throw a complete end, but the players switch halfway through. So you go 3 rocks,
Oh, really?
and then the players switch ends.
Oh, that's interesting.
I thought so too. I don't know the purpose of it, but
Well, don't they do that in tennis, or there's, when you're,
Volleyball does.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
interesting.
The tiebreakers, seems to me, after so many
Yeah.
volleys. All right, so they're drawing in for July 2 without last rock.
I think it's a great spot too. You don't want to be too deep.
So this is interesting, playing for Etta to come around to lie 1. Hopefully buried if she can. Speed looks pretty good.
I don't think I'd put a broom on it. It needs to curl.
Elaine was going to sweep, but she's backed off.
They'll glide a long way.
And they scored their shot rock.
So there's 2 rocks left to throw in the game. 1 each.
Just a reminder that this is the finals of the Women's Ladies Championship here at the Canadian National Stick Curling 2022. being held here in Moncton, New Brunswick at Moncton, sponsored by CIBC Wood Gundy. The men's finals takes place directly after this match. And I believe we're using the same ice, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
So interesting here is, does she go for a takeout or for a freeze?
Well, they're up one. She removes that one. The best the blue can do is tie.
That's curling hard.
It's coming to the center line.
Yeah, I think. Might. Ooh. Okay.
Wow.
I can't tell from here whose shot.
I actually think it might be the yellow at the top.
At the top 8 foot, that's
yeah.
what I was wondering, but they didn't seem to look at that.
No, they didn't.
Oh.
Oh no! Whoa! Whoa!
Whoa,
Whoa!
whoa,
Whoa! 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 It was just right there where the lassie is on the Scotties. It wasn't biting.
It wasn't in the house, but
No, it wasn't. It wasn't in the house. I guess we can't.
They have a head umpire downstairs
Okay.
if they
Yeah.
need,
Yeah.
if the rock
Yeah.
is going to come into play later on.
so the yellow at the top 8 foot is the shot rock.
I believe so. Yeah. And then blue is second, and then third, and then yellow's fourth over there. I don't think that blue one should be there. It's all right.
Hit and stay for 2 and win the game.
Well,
Looks
here's
like-
the officials coming out. Yeah, they're discussing whether or not it was. Yeah. There you go. It wasn't biting. It may not come into play, but.
Well, it might have where it was.
Yeah.
Oh no, for sure. Yes,
where it
yes,
was,
yes.
it could have come into play, but over there.
And it's very fortunate that we are live streaming this and we could get the umpire to actually look at our live stream to see exactly where the rock was placed.
There you go.
There.
There you go. Oh, that's good. No, it was off. Yeah, they're just asking. Yeah,
There we go. Yeah,
That's
there.
good.
That's good.
yeah. It was right on
Might
the
have been a
dog-
little higher
on
than
the
that, but
dog's
it's still-
face, right on the little lassie there. That's where it was. But yep. All right, now.
Back to the game.
So that is shot rock.
Can't just have a nose hit. Got to get a little roll in to be second.
I think you're right, Lawrence. Yes.
Yeah, 'cause Bluestone is shot
Yeah.
rock. Got to move that one.
Yeah. So the last rock.
She's not
of,
taking much ice.
No, it'll be weight sensitive. Oh, she may have pushed
Lots
it out
of
a little
weight,
bit.
pushed it out.
Yeah,
Now, this could be
that's-
really dangerous.
That's the common place where when they've missed on that side. Well, they score their one and tie the
Another
game.
one to tie game. So we go into extra ends. So they throw from the away end to home. They take 6 rocks each down at the
Okay.
away end,
All right.
and they start off with the 2 players. After 3 rocks each thrown, the players switch ends
Okay.
so that everybody gets to
Everyone's
throw.
throwing to the home.
Yeah,
Okay.
everybody gets to throw stones.
we're good. Well, Lawrence, it's kind of fitting that if you're going to have a championship match, tight game, back and forth. Both teams have stolen an end. And yeah, to bring it to a final with an extra end is very fitting, I think.
Very fitting, very fitting. And you know, I'm quite proud to say that it's Atlantic Canada finals too in the women's division.
Yeah, so we have Betty Mattson and Audrey Dorey from Wolfville Curling Club in Nova Scotia, and Elaine Hughes and Etta Reid from the Cornwall Curling Club in beautiful Prince Edward Island.
A special thank you to CIBC Wood Gundy for their sponsorship of the national championship. But we've also had lots of local sponsors, people helping out from the provincial, municipal, and the federal government, along with just local sponsors that are always involved with the curling club here. Nana's Bakery, who provides us with some really nice baked goods. KKP for all our printing. And Old Dutch for the snacks after the game. And also I'd like to mention, I can't name all the volunteers, but there's a whole group of volunteers that get involved in putting on these events. So Curl Moncton is quite proud to have the amount of people that they have that are involved. So a special thanks goes out to all the volunteers that make it possible to hold an event like this.
And it's been very difficult, Lawrence, as you know, in these times where some of the volunteers haven't come back to curling since the pandemic, and if you're not curling here, then you're not as involved. So yeah. It's tough. It's made it tough, and for the whole curling community, nationwide, I'm sure. Here we go. So the extra end is underway for the finals of the women's championship here, 2022 stick curling. And as you said, they've reversed. So Etta has never been at this end of the game, or the end of the ice all game. So it makes it challenging too, because now they're going to get the perspective coming from the other way.
Then after 3 rocks, they'll switch again.
So there's certainly no advantage to one or the other.
Nope. I also mentioned that if curlers are familiar with brush heads and brush head rules, there are no brush head rules in the stick curling. So there's no official fabric that has to be used on brush heads in the stick curling.
Right, and as you mentioned earlier, sweeping isn't a big part of the game. So
we like to think it is, because we like to think as sweepers we're doing an amazing job, but reality.
Yes, because in competitive play, the brush heads do have a code, right? Or
yes, they all have a serial number.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're all the same color. Here's a nice shot on that.
Nice draw here by Elaine. However, it does peek out, Lawrence, out the other side. So, and this is going to be interesting, because this is the spot where if you overthrow it, it won't get anywhere near the 4-foot line. So it's all about weight and coming out on the broom, I suppose. Well, if anything, she's. I think she came out on the 4-foot line. Yeah, we'll see. She now
is on the guard.
Is she allowed to remove that guard?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Had to count stones. Which is not bad at this point, because Nova Scotia does have last rock in this.
Correct. So Elaine is being asked to put a second one in the house, I believe. Well, I think that'll end up as possibly a guard. which is fine as well, or they don't have last rock. So Audrey's being asked to take out.
Taking a different ice.
Yes. Yeah, I think they finally caught on to the. Now that's going to have some curl. She got to the center line, so I think she should be fine. Lots of weight. And she makes contact
Won't hang around.
and rolls out.
I would have thought they would have used the same turn, having known what goes on there.
That's the turn they've played all game. So,
Yeah.
so here's the switch comes on. Etta goes down now to throw the remaining 3 rocks for the PI team. And I guess she won't be needing her sweeping broom anymore.
I think this is interesting to do the switch halfway through, so that every player is involved with the delivery of a stone.
Yeah, and it's not just, even during the week that would have taken place as well. It's not just because it's a
No,
championship.
all extra
Certainly for the
ends.
championship, that seems to make a lot of sense. So,
But every extra end is
yeah.
that way.
Well, it's a nice tight game, and we're sitting here 4-4 in the 7th end.
And the pressure is on throwing to the home end, because the game finishes at the home end.
Yeah.
So the pressure on the delivery person is always, it's a lot of discussion that we've had on our team to who's going to be. So what we did this year is we switch every game, so that we get both comfortable throwing last stone
Yes,
in the
not
game.
always. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
Now,
So
some
do
teams
you-
never change.
Do
They
you,
stay.
keep, do you keep stats? Who wins?
That wouldn't be a good thing.
Actually, she got a little rub, but you know what? The weight was such that that rolled nicely behind cover and just on the 4-foot. So
She just had enough rotation on that stone. It didn't kill the rotation.
no, it continued on. You're right. Now, this is going to be weight sensitive too, to cross the center line. And we've seen it time and time again. If it's over, I know she's got, I think, and she did make contact.
Contact,
However,
but didn't stick around.
No, no.
Which is not necessarily a bad thing, to keep the house clean.
Just a reminder that the men's finals will be occurring. I imagine they'll just clean, give the ice a bit of a sweep. Will they, Lawrence?
I don't know what he has intentions of doing. I don't know if he's going to.
I mean, we'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see. But anyway, it's a game against the Beach brothers from the Highland Curling Club against the Manitoba team of Norm Magnuson, Resby Coots from Fort Rouge, Manitoba.
This is curling hard.
So
Going to be on the guard.
as it comes up, it touches the guard and stays in front, though. It's obviously still in play. Now, do you go around or do you take out? To give yourself the shot for the...
Well, you've got 2 shots left.
Yep.
I know what would be my preference. I'd want to be in the house on my first one. Because you throw takeout now, then you'll have to throw a draw.
I think she's thinking if I take the guard out and roll in, that would be a pretty... that might be a good shot. And we're seeing now it's as it approaches the center line, she's made the takeout, and unfortunately she may...
Rolled
yes,
out.
she's rolled out. But that wasn't, I think that was the attempt.
I think that
Get
was
as
the
much
attempt,
of that
yeah.
blue, yes, you could.
But I think we all know, personally, I rather after a draw follow with a takeout than do a draw after a takeout. The adrenaline is going on your last stone.
I'm noticing too, Lawrence, and I don't think it's an age factor, but two of the girls out there in the finals are wearing helmets, and that's become more of a safety thing. And that, like I say, it's not an age thing as much as it's just
The personal preference,
yeah.
yeah. There's one of the curling clubs I heard this week that everybody's required to wear a helmet. Pugwash, everybody has to wear a helmet.
I mean, yeah, you fall on the ice and hit your head. That can be pretty debilitating, I'll tell you. We've had a number of people here, fortunately not serious, but certainly have gone down and pucked their beanie, as they say.
We just had one here, 3 weeks ago? And he's got still the shaved patch on the back of his head and the stitches to show.
Yep. Always err on the side of caution. And the ice is slippery. I mean, it just is. It's no different than hockey ice. In fact, sometimes I think it might be even slippier than hockey ice.
If you haven't got the right shoe wear, but even with the right shoes, if like my feet are warm,
Mm-hmm.
so if I stand in one spot for too long, I can get a little water underneath my shoe. And you have to be careful with stick delivery because you're coming out and you put a lot of pressure sometimes just on one foot when you're reaching out, and that can easily slide out from under you.
So, the last rock for Team PEI. And Lawrence, I think they're attempting to come into the house here behind their guard,
Too light.
just on the 4-foot line. You'd certainly want to be in the house.
Okay,
And,
roll it.
Wow. So, if we go into a second extra end, same thing?
Yep.
We go down 3 and switch?
Yep.
I mean, not that I'm wishing anything here, but so to win 2022 Canadian Stick Curling Championship,
Yellowstone coming down the sheet now. Don't think it's going to need any help other than to get by that blue.
I think that'll be for the, well, we'll see how it finishes up here. And she wins with the draw to the back of the 8-foot. Well done.
And congratulations to Team Nova Scotia of Betty Mattson and Audrey Dorey, who are now the 2022 Canadian Stick Curling Women's Champions.
And our broadcast will continue here in a few minutes with the men's finals. So as we say, I'm Arnold, this is Lawrence, and we'll be bringing to you the Canadians championship here, the men's. Probably, Lawrence, I would say in 10-15 minutes.
In about 10-15 minutes, and it's the actual open division where there can be men, women, and wheelchairs.
So we'll